Good day. I am Gabrielle Therese Molida, and I will be presenting the Articles 13 to 17 of the Treaty of Peace between the United States of America and the Kingdom of Spain, which is also known as the Treaty of Paris. Article 13 outlines the protection of intellectual property rights for Spaniards in the territories ceded to the United States, including Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. It ensures that copyrights and patents held by Spaniards at the time of the treaty's ratification will still be honored and respected. The treaty specifies that Spanish scientific, literary, and artistic works, as long as they do not threaten public order in the ceded territories, will be allowed to enter these territories without taxes for 10 years from the date of the treaty's ratification. As for Article 14, it grants Spain the authority to appoint consular officers in the ports and locations of territories that have either been relinquished or ceded according to the terms of the treaty. This provision ensures that consular officers appointed by Spain have the necessary privileges to engage in diplomatic activities such as protecting the interests of Spanish nationals, assisting with trade affairs, and fostering cultural exchanges. Article 15 outlines an agreement between two countries regarding the treatment of each other's merchant vessels in their ports. For 10 years, both countries agreed to provide the same treatment to the merchant vessels of the other country as they would to their vessels not involved in coastwise trade. This treatment includes port charges like entrance and clearance dues, light dues, and tonnage duties. The agreement is not permanent. Either government has the option to terminate this agreement by providing a 6-month notice to the other government. Article 16 underscores the temporary nature of the obligations the United States assumes about Cuba, that any commitments made by the United States of America in the treaty regarding Cuba are applicable only for the duration of the U.S. occupancy in Cuba. These commitments could include political, economic, or other types of agreements that the United States agrees to uphold for the well-being or governance of Cuba. Once the United States concludes its presence in Cuba, it is obliged to recommend to any future government established in Cuba to undertake the same commitments mentioned in the treaty. Lastly, Article 17. It describes the finalization and ratification process of the Treaty of Paris, which concluded the Spanish-American War in 1898. The treaty was negotiated between the representatives of the United States and Spain and signed on December 10, 1898 in Paris. It outlines the procedures for ratification. It specifies that the treaty needs to be ratified by the President of the United States, with the advice and consent of the Senate, and by Her Majesty the Queen Regent of Spain. The ratifications are to be exchanged in Washington within 6 months from the date of the treaty, or earlier if possible. The signatures and seals of the respective plenipotentiaries empowered to negotiate and sign treaties on behalf of the respective countries further authenticates the document. William R. Day, Cushman K. Davis, and Rafael Serrero are one of the plenipotentiaries. The treaty's ratifications were exchanged in Washington on April 11, 1899, as confirmed by President McKinley. The proclamation by President McKinley signifies the official public acknowledgement of the ratified treaty, urging compliance with its articles and clauses by the United States and its citizens.